what is Valve doing? Now, if you're asking yourself this, to be honest, you're not really doing that much research. It's not a secret what Valve is actually doing. They are bettering the future of video games. Now, a lot of people don't understand why did they stop making video games at a certain point. It's not that they completely stopped making video games. They are making video games. They've stated they're making single player video games. They stated they are releasing the Dota card game. It is a game, guys, and I'm going to tell you right now, there a company does not hire on graphic designers and writers just to work on Steam all day long, or Counter Strike, or Team Fortress 2, or Dota 2. They are working on stuff, and there was a huge thing that was going on that a lot of people completely forgot about, or just didn't really acknowledge it as much, was the whole SteamBox VR combination time frame. Now, there was a time frame where Valve was releasing a lot of stuff to for one reason, and I'll get to that reason in just a second. But they were releasing the Steam Box, they were releasing the Steam Link, they were releasing the Steam Controller, they were releasing Steam Home, they were releasing HTC Vive, they were releasing all these things, and then there was the one and major thing that I see that nobody else is catching, and that is Source 2. Nobody here is understanding that every single Half-Life game that was released coincided with their engine. So Gold Source was released with Half-Life demonstrating Gold Source. Source was released with Half-Life 2 demonstrating Source. And I honestly, because of the success of Valve and how they have done it by doing these things in the past, they are going to do the same thing, in my opinion. There has not been a single AAA game at all on the Source 2 engine. Only ports and updates, and that's it. Nothing else. They have not shown anything to the true power of Source 2 engine. And this is what is my main front runner of why I believe Half-Life 3 is not only being made, but already has been created. They're just waiting for the right time and maybe making a bunch of things make sure that it's just perfect. And what a lot of people don't understand is that I hear this a lot. Stop saying that Steam is a hindrance to Valve. It is not. Steam is a baseline of money to where Valve, if they fail, they are they have that net safety net, basically insurance, which is Steam's, Counter Strike's money as well, and Dota's money as well, and Team Fortress money as well. All those nets catch any fail. So if the Steam Box did fail, or the Steam Link failed, or all these other ones failed, it didn't matter on their money because they still made money. Valve is an interesting company because with other companies, they have to make games in order to make money. Activision, Ubisoft, all these different companies, they have to continually make games in order to make money. Valve doesn't. Yes, that statement is true. Don't say that. The statement is true that Valve does not need to make a video game ever again. They do not. But do not make the statement that they say that they don't want to make a video game again. Now, getting back to my statement saying what Valve was trying to do in the past. Go to the Xbox 360 era. What was happening in this era? Well, nothing. Well, you honestly, if you compare to Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3, yes, it was a big jump in graphics. Sorry about the squeaky chair. But it was a big jump in the graphics there, correct. Yes. But in the computer time frame, every year computers were getting better and better. Not only that, they were already better than console at the time, but better and better and better. And then within a 10-year time frame, computers were insane compared to the Xbox 360. Look, and so that means the tech of the Xbox 360, literally the year right after it was released, was completely shit. It was just like it was done. It was already out of date. So that means as a software developer, this is a problem. This is a problem because Valve, if you think of it as a perspective of as a software developer or a game developer that wants to make this amazing game with high rendering and and high textures and the particle effects and 60 plus frames and stuff, and some computers could run stuff like that, correct? not consoles. Consoles, you would have to dumb it down and make it like 30 frames, lower the resolution, and have the textures completely different. And this is a problem with game developers. But the problem in Valve, I believe, set out to stop this, to try to stop this. They held back on Half-Life and Half-Life 3 for multiple reasons. Um, One, I believe because Episode 1, it's bad reviews, and the fact that the episodes were not getting as good reviews as they thought they would, so they probably decided to move to full-length games. And this upset a lot of people because of Valve time. It takes too long to make a video game, so I'm pretty sure that's why we saw a lot of people left. If Mark, the whole Marc Laidlaw thing, I'll get to in a moment, but I'm going back to my SteamBox thing. Uh, Valve basically, I'm pretty sure, sat down and said, "Do we want to be, like everybody else, and constantly make games for the same thing, for the same flat screen, or do we want to be something better and make something new and submit the future of video gaming and interactive with video games?" I believe Valve sat down and said, "What should we do in this situation? We have the power and the money with Steam and our other games. So, to be honest, what we could do here is just work on bettering consoles so we don't run into these snags, these constant snags." Um, so I believe that's what their goal was originally with the Steam box and everything else. Not just to, dip into the console world like a lot of people believe. I believe that they wanted to fix the problem of that consoles can never keep up with PCs. So if you have a console that could constantly update itself, it doesn't run into that problem. So so they don't have to run down everything. 30, make the 60 frames, make it 1080, make it 4K. Whatever your video card could run, you could freaking play it. That right there, I believe, is what they were trying to do, but it didn't work out well for them. Why is that? I honestly believe marketing and the time frame. It was an interesting time because PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, and nobody really was not looking at the Steam box. Nobody really even cared because if you really look at it, console gamers don't want to run into the problem of like, oh well, my specs are not good enough to run this game in full detail. And PC gamers usually already have a computer and don't see any reason why to buy it. So that mid ground was just not there. It just was not there. And even though they still sell Steam boxes, Steam controllers, Steam Links, and everything like that, I believe everything was rolling over for Half-Life 3, guys. I believe they were eventually going to release Half-Life 3 with all this, but saw that it did not work out as well with it. So they had to wait. Why do they have to wait? Well, they had to wait for consoles to catch up. They had to wait for PCs, for more people to have more modernized PCs, better processors in their PCs, better video cards being updated, making the video cards cheaper so people actually get better video cards. All these things have to be factors before they release a game. Valve knows that everybody wants Half-Life 3. They know. Gabe gets hate mail 24/7. He knows. And the fact is, he jokes about it all the time. If they were that serious to actually cancel Half-Life 3, I don't think he would even joke about it. I don't think he would ever bring it up. And I honestly think that a respectable team like Valve would eventually just say we are not going to release it. I honestly believe that, but that's not what Valve is. Everybody that's on the Valve team are innovators, creators, and were put onto Valve not to make them money, but to make them something creative from their mind. Every one of them. And that's why Valve is so known for their perspective of the way they work, pretty much, as in, like, anyone can move their stuff around to any time. So honestly, I believe about 12 years ago, Valve Gabe was just like, okay, lock either new people or some of our best people into a room and just don't come out until we have the best game. That could have been just 10 people, like they have stated before in other videos that 10 people were on the project, and it just back and forth with it. Now I'm gonna end my video on my Marc Laidlaw thing. I've actually stated this before about Marc Laidlaw with my other Half-Life video, but I wanted to clarify what I meant about what whole thing about Marc Laidlaw. My opinion on what happened with Marc Laidlaw is not that he released Episode 3 story because they were not going to release Half-Life. He wanted to have his version shown to the world. I guarantee when he left Valve, he is the creator of Half-Life. He created the whole story for this. So I believe when he left Valve, he had more rights to know what they were doing to Half-Life than anybody else. I honestly believe. So I'm pretty sure, maybe not Gabe himself, but other people have contacted him saying, we're not going to make your story of Half-Life. We had to change the tech, the engine, and the story because you were not overseeing what we could have done with it, even though they had the notes of it. So it's not going to be completely different, but it's not going to be overseen by Marc Laidlaw's story. And I believe that Marc Laidlaw was just like, well, I want my version to be released. So he did the Episode 3. That's simple as that. I want to believe that because that's not a confirmation whatsoever at all on that. At all. But that's pretty much what I believe, that he was contacted by Valve and they stated that they're not going to make his version of Half-Life, so he sent out to the world his version of Half-Life before Valve sent their version out. So, fingers crossed, guys. Because honestly, this is just all from what I've seen on researching from, Valve News Network. I love you. I love you. You have great information, and not just that, my own research over time and my own theories and everything like that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my ranting. I hope this, maybe might help you guys feel better about what Valve does and how they work. Bye bye.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.